Hi, this is Cassidy Gard with CiGi TV, and I am here with John Fugelsang.
You got it.
Get it?
I was like
Yes.
30 before I could say my name that quickly. Very good, Cassidy.
Every time I see you on social media, I quietly say to myself, how do you pronounce that?
Yeah, I have the same problem. It's Danish for lactose intolerant.
That's funny.
Well.
I like that. I would love to hear from you just a little bit of the background of what brought you to Politicon for people that are just now tuning in that missed this weekend.
Well, it's a really, really great bipartisan event, and I was here last year for the first time, and they asked me to come back, and I was very eager to. I do a show for SiriusXM satellite radio on the Insight channel, 121, which is sort of like NPR with penis jokes, I guess. And they asked me to come out, and I was on Rick Unger's panel, and then I ran my own, which was a show that I do in New York and LA called Comedy Nation, where we have comedians do one topic, and everyone does a monologue, then I run a panel. And we had a really strong, terrific group of comics doing that show. And so I'm done with my gigs, and I'm just enjoying hearing all the other speakers.
Yeah, you're just at Comedy Sunday night evening watching all the stand-up comedians right now.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of good talent here.
So I would love to hear from you. Actually, I thought it was really funny. There was one panel, and it said that D.C. is Hollywood for ugly people. Did you see that?
No, but I've heard that many times, and that like the White House Correspondents' Dinner at the Oscars for ugly people.
I know. I think it caught my attention. It was a very popular panel. I would love to hear from you. I mean, there's a lot of people that supported Bernie Sanders, and then now it's looking like it's getting down to 2. Are you somebody that formerly supported and still possibly do that will vote for Hillary if it comes to that, or would you rather just write somebody else in?
No, almost. I think if Bernie Sanders is not I'm not a Democrat, but I did support Senator Sanders. I'm pretty certain I'll vote for a woman this year, whether it's Secretary Clinton or Dr. Jill Stein. We'll figure out. I'm a California state voter, so it's a safe blue state. But a lot of a lot of Sanders supporters obviously have difficulty with Secretary Clinton's record. I think when they're faced with the prospect of Donald Trump nominating Omarosa to the Supreme Court, they might find it a easier pill to swallow.
Right, exactly. And one thing that I like about you is when I looked you up on Twitter, despite whatever candidates you supported, you're very vocal about women equality and standing up in social media. One of the tweets that you wrote was something along the lines, if you're watching a news channel and they're commenting on what Hillary Clinton is wearing, you're not watching news.
Well, it's true. I mean, I never knew as a kid how sexist our society was until she was First Lady. And, my whole attitude towards political comedy is fair and biased. So I'll criticize people when it's warranted, and I'll make fun of them, but I'll also defend them. And the most of the attacks we hear from the Trump camp against Hillary Clinton are kind of rubbish. I mean, I'll give Trump credit for things he's right about. He's right about NAFTA. He's right about the Iraq War. He's right about not letting about taxing hedge fund managers. I'll give him credit when he's right about stuff. But generally, I grew up with a father who was madly in love with his wife. I grew up with a very Christian feminist father, and
that's wonderful. So in the day and age when your father, growing up with him, he was a Christian feminist? That's rare.
Well, not really. Jesus was the biggest feminist in the Bible.
Well, I think there's something about the fact of men being confident enough to call themselves a feminist. I think just until a couple years ago, it seemed like something for the ladies, but now a lot of men are saying, hey, I'm a feminist. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think that's terrific. I think if you believe in treating people equally for equal work, you're a feminist. I think, Rush Limbaugh's probably a feminist. He's just been trained to think that that's a bad word. My parents were Catholic clergy. My mother was a nun who was a nurse and worked with lepers in Malawi, Africa, and my father was a Franciscan brother who taught history to Catholic boys in Brooklyn and carried a torch for this nun he was in love with for 10 years. They both quit. He got her to marry him, and so I had the gift of growing up with a father who was intensely in love with his wife and intensely in love with social justice. So for me, it's just a logical outgrowth of don't be a dick.
I would love to ask you, because there were panels and it was talking about technology and social media and what it means with this election cycle, because I think more than ever before people are utilizing it. You yourself, you post videos to YouTube. What does it mean to you to be able to utilize something like YouTube, to have your own platform just to get videos out there?
That's a great question, because some cynical folk like to say that entertainers should keep their mouths shut and not share their opinions and shut up and sing. I disagree. I think everybody should voice their opinions more, and even at the risk of looking silly, which I do all the time. So for me, I mean, I think social media has become so vital to the political debate that I wish it had been around decades sooner. There's so many folks out there who were disengaged from politics a few years ago, who maybe don't watch it on the news, but because of Facebook or Twitter, are now very engaged. And I see my mom's 80-year-old friends, posting political stuff all the time, and that's great. That's sort of what makes for a functioning democracy, is people being aware and people being engaged. They thought social media would bring us closer together. Mm-hmm. It kind of just seems like it's made it easier for haters to hate and for guys to not understand that your thing. But there's so many examples of people who've become more engaged in the political process here and, of course, the Arab Spring and around the world. So I love it.
So to ask every YouTuber, I'm a YouTuber myself, do you read the YouTube comments?
I try to, yeah. But you know what I say? Like there is no hell, but there is the comment section. And, there's always going to be a certain kind of coward who will go online, and this is nonpartisan, a certain kind of coward who will go online, disguise their identity, not show their name and face, and personally attack someone that's never bothered them for the crime of having a different point of view. And that's not a liberal thing to do. It's not a Christian thing to do. And so that's always going to be there. But I am a firm belief that the decent folk, both conservatives and progressives, outnumber the toxic ones.
I like that. You're still optimistic. You have to have some positivity and hope for the the goodness of people, right?
I'm a recovering cynic. I'm trying to be. Cynicism got boring for me.
I love that. Very last question. Do you, in your gut, have any predictions just of what is going to happen? Because I've heard both sides. Trump could take it. I've also heard, there's no way in hell it's going to happen. Do you have any idea, like, what you really think will happen? I
mean, a lot of things. Well, unless something unexpected happens.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think Secretary Clinton's going to be indicted. I don't think Donald Trump is going to go to jail for the university. I hope we don't have a rash of domestic terrorist attacks. Right. Donald Trump has to do better with Latinos than Romney did.
There you go.
Latino voters and single women will decide this election. So watch who you alienate, politicians.
That's a great place to end. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for taking the time. And online, what is the name of your show that you said?
Well, I do a show called Tell Me Everything on Sirius XM Insight, Channel 121 every day. And I'm on Twitter and Facebook and, a TV near you.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for what you do. Thank you.